Okay, Tulu, I owed you some information on how we came up with the recommendation on how to make an offer. And so on your very last page, or second to last page, yeah, second to last page on the report I sent you, these are the main notes. The current mortgage is $185,000 in 2014. Of course, that's paid down for the first 3 years. Probably not a great deal. If it's total of $2,000 or $3,000, that would be a lot. The lowest price on the comps was $205,000. And at best, if we match that price of $205,000, it would mean about a $30 a month savings on, and this is incorrect here, it's dial-in, so we can correct that before we send it out to them. Our other option, though, is to ask 3% in closing costs. Now, remember, we discussed that Keller Williams is saying 5%. Well, I'll show you the numbers for that zip code, but that zip code was like 4%. Then if you take the fact that it's priced at 212, when the comparables came in at, I think it was 214, then if we get 3% closing costs plus it's 1% already priced below, and that's why I said priced aggressively, it's priced 1% below the comparables, then we end up with a conclusion that says, let's go for 3% closing and leave the price at 212. The reason for that is, going that direction, is 3% would equal about the same amount if we went down to 205, but the break even, if we got it 205 and he paid out of pocket, is 15 plus years. So how did we get that? I'm sure you, a mathematic wizard, already know, and that is that if we take $30 per month and divide it into 3% of closing, then that gives us the number of months, which stretches out for 15 years. Okay, now we are on the MLS sheet for one of the sold properties in there. Notice it's sold. That was one of your comps. And let's learn a little bit about this page down here on a sold listing that helps us with some information. It was listed originally for $219, and then the list price was dropped to $215 basically. And then it sold for $205. So this is the one that I mentioned was the lowest priced one. And here, this line here means seller credit means, did they ask for any closing costs? No, they didn't. So I use this one because it's very close to equivalent. As I mentioned in the on the comp page, this was listed at $215. This house that we're interested in is at $212. That's why I said that's a good price. They asked for price of $205. They did not ask for any seller credit. And notice the sales price to list price ratio is 95.39. So almost 5%, but not quite, 4.6% basically. If you did this for each one of those, then you would be able to see what the average is in that particular neighborhood as far as the sales price to list price ratio. Now, don't get me, let me get you off base here. You don't have to go into that much analysis. I'm using this kind of a deep analysis as a learning opportunity for you. And why I don't just take a carte blanche 5%, because house to house, neighborhood to neighborhood, city to city, they really vary, and 5%, as an example, would not work in Lutz right now. and 5% would be too low in Wesley Chapel right now. So that's why I don't take an overall 5% of what the county shows right now. So that's part of my thing for accuracy. So anyway, that I hope gives you an idea of how I came up with the recommendation of keeping the list price the same but asking for 3% in closing costs. Now, of course, if his lender said he could use a little bit more, you still have another half a percent or percent that you could ask for in closing costs. But for this priced home and everything generally, unless they're an expensive lender, 3% should hold it. So you can review this and play the tape back again. And then if you want to talk more about it tomorrow night, we will be getting together. So hope this helps. And write down your questions. We'll work on them together.